Hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. So for today's videos, I will talk about the pro and con of a hospital patient transporter. Here's a quick overview. So for a hospital patient transporter, very much your main job is to transport patient from point A to point B using a gurney or wheelchair. Now sometimes you have to use the bed if the patient is not stable. And if you use a bed, you usually go with a nurse or CNA. But mostly you will go with a nurse. For example, you take a patient from ICU up to the floor, or from the floor down to, let's say, radiology. So sometimes you will go with a nurse. So let's talk about the pro of being a hospital patient transporter. So number one, you could go most area in the hospital. So pretty much you could go to most department or in most area in the hospital because you transport patient. So you could go to ER, you go to ICU, CCU, the floor, like main floor, like med surg, tele floor, burn unit, the ped. Let's see. If your hospital have L&D, like labor and delivery, or the maternity ward, you also go there. My hospital that I used to work at is a trauma hospital, so we have a lot of different departments. I have been to cath lab, I have been to GI lab, I have been to radiology lab, radiology area. So it's composed of ultrasound, nuc med, X-ray, special area for let's say you need a catheter put in on some type of special procedure. Basement have GI lab and other procedure also. But usually, most times you transport patients from ER to ICU or CCU. When they get stable, they send up to the floor. The floor have a lot of different type of floor. Every floor have different type of so for example, my fifth floor is med surg. I think fourth floor is tele floor. Seventh floor was a burn unit. Second floor was L&D. First floor was maternity ward. So every hospital have different floor for you to go and transport and pick a patient. So because of that, you literally see how the hospital work. Number two, you interact with a lot of different medical professional inside the hospital. And when I say a lot, you literally, if you are a patient transporter, you literally talk with nurses, chart nurse, tech, X-ray tech, nuc tech, ultrasound tech, EMT in the ER, the ER nurse. Sometimes the doctor might ask you to help them do something. You go to cath lab, you talk to the nurse there. You go to GI lab, you talk to the nurse there. You go to L&D or you go to maternity ward, you talk to NICU nurse. So there's a lot of medical professionals inside the hospital that you could interact with. Now, you will build up a rapport with the staff. As a patient transporter, I work with the EVS, the unit a lot. I also work with a lot of nurses on the main floor, ER, and the CCU and ICU. I know them on first name basic. And if you're thinking become a nurse or any other medical career, this is a good place for you to interact, ask them questions, kind of shadow them, and ask, oh, so what are you doing? All those questions that you have that you might afraid to ask, people, when you work in the hospital, eventually you build rapport. You can ask them, oh, how you become a nurse? What is the step to become a nurse? How you become a doctor, a PA? So number three, interacting with patient. So as it's come with a job, when you pick up a patient to transport a patient to another location, during the transportation, it's going to be awkward if you don't talk to the patient. Some patient will be sedated, or some patient is sleeping or not well. So sometimes you will just not say anything. But some patient will be very chatty, and you will talk with them, and you kind of build rapport. Because there's a time that for the whole week, when I was in the hospital, I transported the same one patient because the patient have a lot of procedure done. So I say, hey, how are you? It's nice seeing you again. I'll say, hey, John, how are you? How was the day? It's the same thing, transportation back and forth. And then we have a nice conversation. And we ask, oh, so how are you doing? So it's a good way to build up your conversation skill, your patient rapport, and a good skill to have to communicate with patient. You could learn empathy. You could learn the best way to handle some patient, because it's a hospital, so sometimes patients do get mean, they do get aggressive, and eventually it takes some experience to learn how to say, okay, hey, I'm here to help you, I'm here to get you from this place to another place, to get you to this procedure so you could get better. So please don't be aggressive to me, don't say mean thing to me. And it's kind of like going back and forth. It will take time for you to learn to how to deal with some of the cranky and more unruly patient, because there will be a time, and if you work in medical career long enough, you will get a patient that will be really mean, will be racist, or will be like really aggressive to you, and you should learn to how to talk and de-escalate the situation. And I think this is a good job where you could learn how to communicate with a patient like in a nice, timely, effective manner. Number 4, good trajectory for job like growth. So I think everyone can agree that this is a good entry-level job into the hospital, because with this job you could, as I previously mentioned, you work with a lot of medical profession inside a hospital. At the same time, you go to a different area in a hospital, so you see a lot. And I have a friend who, my past coworker, who I'm still friend with right now. Originally, she entered the hospital as an EVS, and then after that, she changed for job to become a patient transporter, and now she works as a CT8. Very much she's work in the CT right now for helping the CT tech doing all the scanning, but you never know, because right now she may be considered eventually become a CT tech, or she become a nurse. But because she have so much involvement with the hospital, it's easy for her to transfer job eventually later on. Let's say if she want to become a nurse, right? She could become she could do her CT8 job while going to school, become a nurse, and after she get her license and get all her certification done, she will have more higher chance to be hired as a nurse at a hospital. Number 5, variety in your day. Let's be honest, with this job, every day is a new day. It's a different day. Yes, it could be a little routine where you take one patient from point A to point B, but trust me, most of the time the patient will be different, so your interaction with the patient will be very different. At the same time, some day will be hectic, so it's like, oh my god, next thing you know, like hours gone by. So it's a lot of excitement, a lot of wow, this is that you focus one thing, next thing you know, you're over here doing this thing, next thing you know, you're over there. So this is a good pro for people who like to be on their feet, like excitement, like moving around in the hospital. Personally, for me, I like to be on my feet. I like the variety. I don't like just day-to-day routine stuff, because eventually it does get very routine and get boring. But with this job, there's a lot of variety, because that day that sometimes it's a trauma hospital. Sometimes we have a flight rescue coming in, so there's that too. So let's talk about the con. Number 1, you will meet a lot of cranky, unruly, aggressive patient that will say mean thing to you, and that's just gonna be a situation you have to eventually learn how to deal with it. Honestly, after a while, you will learn how to talk with patient, how to deal with those type of patient. Again, remember, they are sick, they are dying, so don't take it too hard when they are mean to you, because remember, you are there to take care of patient, you are there to help to get them better. So therefore, I'm fairly sure like even you yourself who are watching right now, when you get sick, when you get like ill, you get a flu or you get a cold, or let's, for example, just say that you wake up, you step your toe, you get really cranky, you get angry, even though you don't mean it. Let's say you are living with your parent right now. Let's say your parent wake you up early, you get cranky, but you don't really mean it. It's just it's human nature, you know. So that's one of the con about this job, because as a patient transporter, you're always gonna move patient around a lot. So sometimes when they're in pain, they don't like to be moved around. But you, as a patient transporter, you had to take them from one place to another place for like a procedure or for another department. So when that happened, they was like, why you moving me? I don't want to be moved. And at that point, you just have to get the nurse involved and then talk with them. And then there's a lot of work going to just moving a patient from one place to another. So just understand that, and remember, you're here to help them get better. Number 2, emotionally draining. With this job, it could be emotionally draining. It just depends on the situation. As I previously said, like sometimes you do see patient like day to day, because if the patient is there for a long-term stay for like a week because of procedure or some type of bad trauma, then they might be there for a while. And especially if they're older too, there's a chance they might pass away inside a hospital. So let's, for example, let's say that I have a patient where I take care and transport patient from the ER to the ICU up to the floor to down to radiology for the whole week. And then eventually one day I got a call and say, hey John, I have a body on this floor, this room, I need to take down to the morgue. And I say, okay. And then say, oh, this is a patient I've been taking care of, been talking to this patient for a whole week, and now I have to go get the body down to the morgue. And it's a hard situation, and that's why like, eventually you learn to deal with it. But again, just a warning: the few times that happened to you, it will be depressing. There's nothing else I can say. Like with this job, especially in a trauma hospital, you will see a lot of deaths, and that's healthcare, and it's gonna kind of help you build up your mentality and more empathy with the patient, because remember, like they are there to get better, and sometimes there's so much we can do as a healthcare provider, and sometimes they just pass away, and that's a sad thing. And that's why we want to make sure we try to fulfill our best foot forward and help them as much as we can. Number 3, low pay rate. So with this job, it's an entry-level job. So remember that it's an entry-level job, and yes, you do a lot of things inside a hospital, but when I got hired, I would think it's like $10.50 an hour. I mean, that was like years ago. And then I just did a recent video on the average pay scale for this job, but expect to get paid around like $12 as entry level. Maybe if you have more experience and then your area is more higher income, then that could be from 12 to go up to 14. But 12, 14 is your like average expected rate per hour. Again, you do get paid overtime, but 12 to 14 hours is your expected rate for this job. 4, you will be on your feet all the time. And when I say on your feet all the time, that means you are moving a lot inside this hospital. So you want to have a good shoe for moving, because again, this is a patient transporter job. So you're moving patient from one area to another. Sometimes you help the nurse. Sometimes you have to move medical equipment. So there's a lot of moving around. Sometimes I have to run from one floor to another. Next thing you know, I have to go run from the 7th floor down to the basement, or from the ER, go all the way up to 5th floor to get something. There's a lot of movement inside this hospital. So make sure that you are comfortable with moving around. Number 5, a lot of heavy lifting. When I say heavy lifting, I mean there's some heavy lifting. Again, like it's not just like you just expect to lift a patient by yourself. You're always gonna have people helping you. I have staff that weaker than me, smaller than me, doing this job. I have friends, coworkers who are smaller than me, like, moving patient. So it's not that just you are expected to be big and strong for this job, but you do have to do lifting with this job. Now you have to move patient from the bed to the gurney, or from a bed to another bed. So therefore, there's a lot of strength requirement for this job, and if you do it wrong, you might get injured on the job, because again, when you lift and pull a patient, if you don't do it correctly, you might get your back injured, or you might twist your back, and then you'll be out of work. And that's why before you think about working for this job, make sure you could deadlift or damage carry at least 50 pounds. And I mean, before you get this job, they will make your supervisor or people who hire you will kind of like size you up and say, okay, are you comfortable with doing this job? Can you move patient without risking the safety of yourself and the patient? Because we don't want people to move patient, and next thing you know, like that person get hurt and they drop the patient. That's a very unsafe thing to have, and therefore that's why we want you to be comfortable with moving. Let's say you have a patient that is 300 pounds. I have that patient before, and when that happened, even I'm bigger. Right now I'm about 190. 300 pound patient moving by myself, that's not possible. So I was gonna have like 3 people come to help me, or 2 people come to help me. And we'll have a sliding sheet also. So we have that, or we have a sliding board. When a patient is too big for me to move by myself, I will ask someone to help you. Okay, here's another thing. Most time you expect to move a patient by yourself, but let's say if the patient is less than 200 pounds or like 150, something like that, it's okay to move by yourself. But if the patient is like over 200 pounds, you always ask for help. Remember, your safety of yourself and the patient are priority. So don't hurt yourself or hurt the patient by thinking that, you know what, I want to do this quick, I don't want to bother people. Yet no, ask for help. Ask nurses or ask CNA or ask a dispatcher. As a dispatcher, if my staff asks for help, I would say, okay, give me like a few minutes, let me try and find someone to come help you. If not, I will call the charge nurse, say, hey, my staff need help, can you send a nurse or a CNA to help my staff? If not, I will come as a dispatcher, I will come and help you. So communication is very important with this job. And do some lifting. Well, I hope you learned something new from this video. What is your thought on the pro and con of a hospital patient transporter? Comment it down below and subscribe. On this channel, I talk about my life experiences and my journey in healthcare. Okay, hope you have a good day. Take care of yourself, believe in yourself, and love yourself. Stay safe, and I will see you again on the next video. Bye!